the people here. Hello and welcome to the Best Moves For You Masterclass. Thank you guys so much for showing up right now. This is a live masterclass, so I'm going to make sure that everybody gets a little bit of time to find their way over here. Believe it or not, we posted this all over our social media channels, and we had 4,300 people sign up to come check out the live masterclass. So right now, we are streaming on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram all at the same time. But I wanted to make a quick mention. If you're joining this masterclass and your goal is to walk away knowing the best moves for you to do so you can have a home workout that you can do from the comfort of your own home and have the right moves for you based on your skill levels, well, then guess what? The best thing for you to do right now is to jump on over to our YouTube feed, all right? You don't have to do that right now if you're on TikTok and Instagram, but at the end of the Best Moves For You Masterclass, we are going to do a follow-along workout that you can use based on all the information I'm going to share with you. You can literally follow along to it. We've prepared for it in advance. It's going to give you a follow-along workout that you can do from the comfort of your own home in just 30 minutes or less. And don't worry, we're going to have variations of each movement that are from complete beginner, so people with aches, pains, and injuries who have trouble standing, who have trouble bending their knees, having trouble with their back, so really beginner movements, all the way to more intermediate movements that should be able to build more strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination in your body so you can feel better in your body. So if you're watching on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, make your way over to the YouTube live feed. You just go YouTube, type in the search bar, WeShape, click on the channel and hop over there. We'll be live in the live tab, okay? So I want to talk about something real quick. This is what we're going to do today in the Best Moves For You Masterclass, right? This is going to be an interactive masterclass. And what does this mean? This means I'm literally going to go through and I'm going to teach you all of the following things. I'm going to teach you 5 warm-up moves for different areas of your body. And I'm going to show you 2 variations of each of the warm-up moves, okay? The 2 variations are going to be 1 in a seated position like this, and 2 in a standing position. So whether you're a complete beginner, and like I said, you have aches, pains, and injuries, standing up feels hard for you, do the seated ones. And if standing feels good to you, do the standing ones, okay? From there, I'm going to show you 2 upper body moves, and I'm going to show you 3 lower body moves, and I'm going to show you my favorite core movement. And for each one of these movements, we're going to go through 6 different movements. I'm going to go through 4 different levels. And so that's the theme of this masterclass, is teaching you how to find the best move for you. Because the reality is, my personal opinion is that the fitness industry has led us wrong. Okay, what do I mean by that? The fitness industry has led us wrong because they lead us to believe that doing machines and pumping your muscles and hitting the cardio machines, that's what exercise means. But what exercise to us at WeShape really means is learning how to move your body the way it was meant to move. Because when you move your body better, you feel better in your body. And if you've been following us for a while, then you know that that's what we're all about at WeShape, is helping you feel better in your body. It's not about how you look. It's about how you feel. And by the end of today's masterclass, you're going to have a follow-along workout with the exact variations that you should be doing, and it only takes 30 minutes. And this is really special as well because, remember, we are in December of 2023 right now. Christmas is coming, and oftentimes this is a time of year where people neglect themselves. And I'm not saying, go out there and go to the gym or stick to your normal routine. Times can get busy right now, but don't neglect yourself. Instead, find a way to take care of your body and to show up for yourself. My hope is that this masterclass will give you the tools you need to maybe sneak in this workout twice a week, again, from the comfort of your own home in just 30 minutes or less, all right? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through the Best Moves For You Masterclass. We're going to go through all these different moves, the 6 different movements, the 5 different warm-up movements. And then after each movement block, I'm going to try to answer some questions if people have questions. So if you're watching and you have questions, post them in the comments below. My team's going to grab them, toss them in this little iPad over here, and I'll try to answer some questions as we go through this. So again, make sure you stick around to the very end because we have that follow-along workout for you that's fully prepared, and we'll go through that in a second. One final thing, again, this is an interactive masterclass, okay? So if you're watching your phone, your iPad, your laptop, put it down, go grab yourself a piece of paper and something to write with, and make sure you have some space on the floor to move your body around. Because ultimately, what I want to do right now is I want you guys to write down your notes. Hey, we're going to do this movement, and I chose to do the level 1 variation. That way, when we get to the follow-along workout, you already know which level you should be following along to, okay? So, all right, what's next on our agenda here? We are going to go through the 5 warm-up moves here in just a sec. But before I get there, I just want to talk about one more thing, which is who are we at WeShape and what are we trying to do here? So I've already mentioned to you that most fitness companies tell you that you should pump your muscles and you should do cardio to burn calories to change the way you look. Well, at WeShape, our goal is to change the way you feel. And the way that we do this is we create personalization in our workouts. We try to make sure that everyone has the right movements for them, not just some random routine that you're given because you watched some video on social media and they said this is the best routine for shrinking your belly or getting flat abs, right? We want to make sure you have the right movements for you based on something that we call motor pattern progressions. And you're going to see this throughout the entire masterclass, this motor pattern progressions. What does this mean? Well, the human body was designed to learn how to move in a particular way. In fact, when we're born as a baby, there's a predictable sequence of movements that almost every single baby will take in order to learn how to go from barely being able to do anything to being able to walk and run. Okay, that's a motor pattern progression. It's a baby not being able to move, to lifting its head, to being able to roll to its belly, to going up to its knees, to standing, to walking, to running, right? And this progression constantly challenges your strength, your flexibility, your balance, and your coordination. And we believe at WeShape, when we take you back to a handful of core movements that teach you how to build strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination using movements that you do in real life, and you slowly progress through starting with learning how to activate the right muscles, then create stability and strength, then adding flexibility and range of motion, and then adding a little bit of speed and power, that's the best way for you to learn how to use your body again so you can have the movement freedom you want to do the things you want in your daily life. So if you're on here right now, give me like a like or a heart, and I just want to ask a quick question. Who here wants to be stronger? Who here wants to be more flexible and have less tightness across their body? Who wants to have less aches, pains, and injuries across their body? And who wants to know the best variations of the movements that will help you accomplish this? All right, so give me a like, give me a heart, throw it up in the air. Okay, I love seeing this. It's so fun to see everybody, jumping on the feed already. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna jump straight in. We're gonna talk about the warm-ups first, all right? We're gonna go through 5 different warm-ups. We're gonna go through something for your feet and ankles, something for your shoulders and your posture. Then we're gonna go neck, spine, shoulders, hips. Then we're gonna go hips and knees. And then we're gonna go feet, ankles, knees, hips, and core, doing everything, okay? So here's what I want you to do. If you took out that piece of paper and you're ready to write stuff down, what I want you to write is warm-up move number 1. Just write warm-up number 1 or W1, right? And then you're gonna decide if you're gonna do the level 1, the seated variation, or the standing variation. So I'm gonna walk through all these variations with you next, okay? So first warm-up move is for your feet and ankles. It's gonna be called the seated calf rock. So come to the edge of your chair, and what you're gonna do is this. You're gonna follow along, and if this feels easy for you, that's fine. You'll go to the next one, and we can say write down level 2. You'll get the hang of it, I promise. So first of all, this is level 1. So seated calf rocks at the edge of your seat, nice tall posture. All you're gonna do is go toes into the ground, and then you're gonna go toes to nose. And we're gonna rock them back and forth like this. All right. Now it's really important when you push your toes in the ground, push the big toe, every toe into the ground as much as possible. And when you lift and try to feel this muscle right here. Okay. It's a pretty straightforward, simple drill. I'm going to do this for just about 10 more seconds. All right. We're going to have a follow along workout. There's not a lot of form cues here, but this is a fantastic move for warming up the ankles, warming up the feet, and even helping to strengthen the knees at the same time. Okay. So if this felt like it was the right move for you, then you're going to write level 1 next to your warm up 1. If this felt way easy to you, then you're going to stand up. And if you need to, you can put a chair next to you for support, right? Just to find your balance here. And you're going to do the same movement. It's a standing calf rock. So you're going to come all the way up on your toes, and then you're going to bring your toes to your nose. And you're just going to go back and forth like this. If you can do it without support, that's even better because we want to find balance as we do these warm-up drills, okay? And just like with the seated calf rocks, all the way up on your toes and lift those toes to your nose and try to get a good pump in those ankles and those lower legs, okay? So if this felt like the move for you, then go ahead and write level 2. So that's warm-up number 1. Choose right now, were you level 1 or were you level 2? Again, this is gonna play into the follow-along workout that we're gonna share with you at the end of this masterclass. Okay, next move, warm-up number 2. Okay, so write WU or warm-up number 2, right? We're gonna do seated bent YTWs. So it looks like this. Back to the edge of the chair, nice tall posture. Now what I want you to do here is this. I want you to bend forward from the hips and lean forward like this. Now the most important thing though is don't round your back. You should have a nice flat back from your tailbone all the way to the top of your head. So don't round your back. From there, you're gonna point your thumbs toward the sky. You're gonna make a Y, then you're gonna make a T like this. And then you're gonna make a W, so bending the elbows and make a W. And each time you bring your hands back behind you, you're trying to squeeze the shoulder blades back and together, okay? So Y, squeeze, T, squeeze, and W squeeze, right? The more you lean forward like this as you do the YTW, the more challenging this will be on your shoulder blades and your lower back. But again, no rounding the back like this. I don't want you doing these things like this. Nice tall posture. Even if you're upright, that's fine. But the more you bend forward, the harder this will be. Okay? If this felt okay for you, then we're going to do a standing variation. But I want to mention something real quick. If you have tweaks in your shoulders, if anything felt funky, only go as far as you feel comfortable and then come back down. And pay close attention to your shoulders. When you bring your shoulders up, are you shrugging your shoulders up like this? Or are you keeping your shoulders down as you bring arms up? I want you to keep your shoulders down away from your ears and your shoulder blades pulled back as you bring your arms up. So if you have less range of motion, that's totally fine. Now, if this was too easy for you, we're going to do a standing bent YTW. So that was level 1. All right, if that felt like plenty for you, level 1, just rest right now. I'm going to show you this next variation of the movement. Okay, remember, we're finding the best moves for you, not everyone, the best moves for you individually. Okay, for the standing variation, you're going to hinge through the hips like this. Knees are pointing the same direction as toes, toes straight forward. We're not going to round the back, okay? Don't round the back like this. It's the most important part. If you start rounding your back like this, you're going to get hurt, okay? So flat back, weight in the heels, hinge to the hips, and we're going to do the same thing. Y, T, and then W, like this. And we're never letting the back round forward. We're going Y, T, W, okay? So if that felt good for you, then write down level 2. If this felt too hard for you, then go ahead and write down level 1, the seated variation of that warm-up drill, okay? So now we've got the shoulders a little bit warmed up, the elbows a little bit warmed up, calves and ankles a little bit warmed up. Let's move on to the neck, shoulders, spine, and hips. Woo! This is gonna be one with a lot of different things. So we're gonna do a seated side bend for this. So again, on the edge of the chair. So this is pretty cool, right? You can do all of these warm-ups from a seated position if you're not able to stand yet. So that's what I want to tell you is that progressions and what we're talking about with motor pattern progressions means we got to give you movements that most people can do even if they can't even stand up from a chair. So a lot of the movements in the other moves that I'm going to show you are going to be these very beginner movements that help you build strength and mind-muscle connection. We'll get to that in a sec, okay? So warm-up number 3. Write down WU number 3, okay? At the edge of the chair, nice tall posture. You're going to take one hand and put it down like this, and one hand and lift it over your head like this as you come to the side. Now, big thing here. When people do side bends, they do this. They collapse their body to the side like this. And that usually puts pressure on the spine because when we collapse, we're putting pressure on all these vertebrae right here between the discs of the spine, and that can cause issues, right? So instead of that, we want to do this. Lift the chest toward the sky. So as you come to the side, lift your chest toward the sky. It's length. It's all about length. And then we're just going to rotate from side to side like this. Now, for any reason this is bothering your shoulders, then all we can do is this. You can keep the arms down, and you can just go from side to side like this, okay? And only go as far as you feel 100% comfortable. We're trying to open up the hips, the spine, the shoulders, right? I really want the arm over the head if possible, though. Even if it's bent like this and you're having trouble with flexibility, it's really important. This side bend move is one of my absolute favorites, okay? Now, if that felt too easy for you, then we're going to go to a standing position, and we're going to do side bends from the standing position. So here's what this looks like. Feet straight forward, right? Nice tall posture. We're not going to allow ourselves to twist, or we're not going to allow ourselves to collapse to the side like this. We're going to lean, and then we're going to lean as we go from side to side, okay? And what you might notice here is in the standing one, you might feel a stretch coming all the way down your body into the outside of your hip, all the way down your IT pan, possibly even into the ankle, okay? But remember, we're not collapsing our body to the side like this. You see the difference? I'm collapsing like this. I'm lifting like this. You see the difference? It looks subtle, but this little bit of a movement right here creates space in the spine and keeps the spine healthy and safe rather than impinging those discs and causing issues with the spine, all right? So if the standing variation felt good for you, coming from side to side like this, you're going to write down level 2 on warm-up number 3, okay? If this felt too hard for you and the seated variation felt better to you, then you're going to write down level number 1. All right, we got 2 more for you, okay? The next one's going to be hips and knees, all right? And we're going to do they protect our knees and they protect our lower back. So here's the level 1 variation. So this is warm-up number 4 if you're taking notes. You're going to choose whether you want to do the seated variation or we're going to do a slightly different move for the standing variation. So you're going to put your feet together like this. Nice tall posture. Whenever we're working out, that's a quick note, whenever we're working out is an opportunity to work on our posture. So many people, when they go to a workout, they become mindless. They like want to watch TV while they hit the treadmill, right? I don't want that. I want you to be really connected to your body, feeling every single part of your body, working on that posture, and making sure that every moment counts for your workouts, right? So tall posture at the edge of the seat. Now from here, you're going to squeeze your knees together. And you're going to feel the muscles on the insides of the thighs firing, okay? And then we're going to open the hips as much as possible. And you can just let the ankles roll to the outside if that feels comfortable for you. If it doesn't, you can keep your feet flat if that feels more comfortable to you. And push the knees out to the outside and then squeeze the knees back together. So all you're doing is opening the hips, right? And getting that external rotation and feeling the muscles on the outside of the hips when we're here, and then squeezing the legs together. So we're warming up that internal and external rotation of the hips, which can help with the knees, help with the ankles as well, okay? So if this was enough for you, then on that warm-up drill number 4, write down level 1. We're gonna do this variation. If it was still too easy for you, then we're gonna do what's called a supported sumo squat. So I'm gonna bring my chair right here. I'm gonna show you how to do a supported sumo squat. So from a side angle, what I wanna do is this. Nice wide stance. I want my toes turned outward. And the most important thing I want you to think about as we do this, especially if you have knee pain, is to make sure that when you look down, your knee is going the same direction as your toes, okay? What does that mean? When I look down, my thigh's going this way, my knee's going this way, and as my knee bends, it's going the same direction as your toes. You're going to cause a lot of pain if your knee collapses in like this and your arch collapses on your foot, or even if it's too wide like this and you lost your arch on your foot. So make sure the knees are going the same direction as your toes. Find a chair for support. Turn the toes outward, right? And all we're going to do is this. Tall posture, use the chair for support. Weight is on the heels. Shins are vertical. I'm not trying to bring my shins forward over my toes. They're vertical. I like to think about, imagine if I was burying my shins in sand and I was trying to come down to a seated position and then nice up to a standing position. As we come down, just like with the seated clams, we drive our knees out as much as possible. We're trying to create that flexibility and that strength in the adductors, abductors, and hip external rotators so we can warm up those hips nicely, okay? So slow and controlled, using as much support as you need through your hands. If this felt like a better variation for you, then what you can do is write down level 2 and do the standing variation for that 4th warm-up, okay? Got one more for you, last one. So we're warming up the body. Hopefully you guys are following along. And remember, when you stick around to the very end, we're going to have a follow-along workout. And what's cool about this follow-along workout, when you follow along to it, it's going to show you both variations of each warm-up. And since you wrote down level 1 or level 2, you'll know exactly which one to follow along to. And when we get to the movements, I'll show you 4 variations. And on the follow-along workout, it's going to have level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. And you'll be able to know exactly which move to follow along to. And you'll be able to see that motor pattern progression in progress, like real time, okay? Because remember, most people think that pumping your muscles and adding reps or adding weight or doing machines, that's the way to work out. I don't believe that at all. We sophisticate the movement pattern. We get better at moving our bodies by using strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination. And that's what makes us feel good in our bodies and allows us the movement freedom to do what we want for as long as possible, all right? One more warm-up for you. We're gonna do seated marching as our beginner variation, our level 1. So write down WU5 or warm-up 5, right? And we're gonna just do a little marching. So here's what it looks like. We're gonna march in place. You're gonna push off the toes. So this is real important. Don't just lift your leg like this. Push off the toes to initiate the movement. Then push this other leg into the ground and lift your foot. And when you lift your knee, what you'll notice is your core will activate. That's kind of cool, huh? When you come back down, use this as an opportunity to start training your feet to absorb shock. So instead of just dropping your foot like this, slowly come ball, heel, and then switch, right? So the way I like to think about this is as I come up, I'm pointing my toes down and I'm letting those toes stay pointed down so I can, I'm thinking too much, so I can support the shock as I go back and forth like this, okay? And trying to bring the knee as much to the chest as possible can be really helpful, all right? And this is a pretty decent range of motion. If all you're doing is, putting your hands and it's really hard just to lift your foot just a tiny bit, that's totally fine too, okay? We're just trying to do a little bit of marching to warm up the hip flexors, warm up the core, and warm up the rest of the body all at the same time. Now, if a seated marching felt too easy for you, then the last warm-up drill is going to be a standing marching. Again, you can use a chair for support if you need, but all you're going to do is this. You're going to lift one knee and lift the opposite arm, and then you're going to bring it back down, and you're going to lift the other knee and lift the opposite arm, all right? So just back and forth like this. Now, here is a really important part, is you can see that as I lift my knee, right? As I lift my knee and my toes are going the same direction. For a lot of people, they'll probably bring their knee in like this a little bit. I'm over-exaggerating here, with their toes trying to point this direction. And you'll notice that if you look at yourself in the mirror, if you have somebody, watch you or film you. So as you do this, treat it as an opportunity to pause and look down. Am I going knees over toes, right? And unlike the seated one, I'd like you to bring your toes towards your nose up here. Don't point them down like this, towards your nose, and then absorb the shock. Towards your nose, and then absorb the shock. Towards your nose, and then absorb the shock, okay? So if this feels good to your body and you're practicing it very mindfully, you can go slow on this one too to make sure that those knees are going straight forward and backward. Then write down level 2 for the 5th warm-up, okay? So we just went through all 5 warm-up drills, and by now you should know whether we were doing a standing or a seated variation of each of these 5 warm-up drills, okay? Next, let's go on to our best upper body moves. So I'm gonna teach you 2 upper body moves, then we're gonna go 3 lower body moves, then we're gonna talk about my favorite core move ever, and like I said, we've got a surprise for you at the end, which is a follow-along workout. Got another surprise for you too, stick around at the end as well. Let's do the upper body moves, and so here's how this is gonna work. Each one of these upper body moves, 2 upper body moves, is gonna have 4 variations. So what I want you to do on that piece of paper, if you're keeping track or if you're taking notes anywhere, write upper body 1 or UB1, right? So that's the first upper body movement that we're gonna do here. And I want you to write down what level you felt was the right fit for you. I'm gonna start at the beginner level, and we're gonna work our way up to level 4. So I'm gonna do 4 different levels, and this will be a way for you to see that motor pattern progression that we've been talking about in action, okay? So we're gonna go over the basic push-up, all right? But we're not gonna start at push-ups because most people can't do those. So the first thing we're gonna do is what's called a seated thigh push-up, okay? So follow along. If push-ups have been hard for you, this is one of my favorite beginner variations of the push-up that can really help you build that mind-muscle connection. So what we're doing here is not necessarily trying to get maximum range of motion. We're trying to feel what it feels like to be able to push your arm forward using your pecs, your chest muscles, while stabilizing your shoulder using your lat and your serratus and your core, okay? So here's what it looks like. Come to the edge of your chair, and we're gonna take a little bit of a wide stance with the toes slightly turned outward. From there, hands go right on top of your thighs, and elbows come up to the outside a little bit, but they don't come up like this, okay? What we wanna avoid is this. We wanna avoid internal rotation of the shoulder, where the shoulder's lifting up and moving forward, all right? So elbows up just a little bit, and all we're gonna do is this. Push the hands into there, and what I want you to feel first is this. I want you to feel your chest muscles working. So push your hands down until you feel your chest muscles working. Maybe you feel your triceps on the back of your arms working a little bit, right? And then what I want you to do is this. Drop the shoulders away from the ears and pull them back, okay? So immediately you're gonna feel the muscles between your shoulder blades pinching together. So boom, now my chest is working. When I drop my shoulders away from my ears, I should feel my muscles underneath my armpits working. If you don't, push your hands into your knees, like push down into the ground, and you'll feel those muscles working, okay? From there, all I want you to do is this. Rock forward, right, while maintaining that tension as far as you can while keeping a flat back, okay? So at the moment you start to round your back like this as you're moving forward, that's the point where you've gone too far. And instead, we wanna make sure we only go as far as we can with a nice flat back like this, okay? And this shouldn't bother your shoulders, so you can reduce the tension if you need to, but we're just trying to feel what it feels like to go from a tall position, arms are straight, triceps are fired, shoulders are down, bending the elbows, pushing into the thighs as much as possible, slow and controlled, squeezing the muscles underneath the armpits, pulling the shoulder blades back, and then pushing forward with the chest muscles, okay? So again, amazing way to get a mind-muscle connection with this movement so that you can start building the strength to do a push-up in a way that is really safe, right? Because when we're just creating our own tension right here, I can loosen up my arms and I can do this with very little tension, right? If I do this with very little tension, then I have a lot less risk for injuring my shoulders, my back, etc. So just do as much tension as you need. But really what we're focusing on is, can we drop the shoulders away from the ears? Can we drop the elbows down? And can we drop the shoulder blades back? And that way we're feeling all the muscles underneath our lats, our chest. It's almost like, imagine this entire belt all the way around your chest and your back is working at the same time, okay? So that is the level 1 variation of the push-up. The level 2 variation of the push-up, you're gonna need a nice sturdy countertop or a chair. And what we're gonna do is what's called a high chair push-up, okay? So I'm gonna go from this angle right here. And what we're gonna do is come into a plank position. I'm gonna describe how to do this with really good form. So first things first, make sure you have a chair that's not gonna slide forward on you. Make sure you have something that's not gonna slide out from you. Let's all be safe here. Make sure we're safe, okay? From there, we're gonna put our hands on the chair, and most people when they do the push-up, they either make one of these 2 mistakes. They either stick their butt out like this, or they drop their hips super far down like this, and they see that arch in my lower back. Don't do that, okay? Instead, what we wanna do is this. We wanna squeeze the glutes and push the lower back towards the sky. I know it looks like I'm having bad posture here, but this is gonna activate my core, and it's gonna protect my lower back. It's gonna make my core and my upper body a lot stronger if I practice my push-ups this way. Now, from there, we're gonna come down into the push-up, And instead of flaring our elbows out like this, a lot of people when they do the push-up, they'll flare their elbows like real far to the outside. You see like this kind of push-up right here? This hurts your shoulders. And the reason why is if I flare my elbow out and I get to here, my pec gets tight. It requires a lot of flexibility. If I keep bringing my elbow backwards, what happens? My shoulder rolls forward and I put my shoulder in a compromised position. So instead what we want is this. As I bring my elbow down, I want it to bring down like this. You see how much more flexibility I have here? And my shoulder never internally rotates or compromises itself. So keeping the elbows low is key here. So glutes, core, keep the elbows low, squeeze the chair with your hands, and you're gonna bring your elbows down to your sides, come down to about 90 degrees or until your chest touches the chair, and come back up. Now, the height of the chair matters here. The higher the chair is or the higher the surface is, the easier this will be. And the closer your feet are to the chair, the easier this will be. So if you wanna make it easier, just come a little bit closer, and all you have to do is this, and just touch your belly to the chair as you go back and forth. If you want to make it a little bit harder, just walk your feet away like this, and you can do the same thing just like that, okay? Again, this is another fantastic push-up variation that you can do to start building the strength to do push-ups, but while doing it on a different angle, a different range of motion, so that way you're building the strength safely. All right, so that is level 2. The level 3 variation of the push-up, we turn our chair around, or we find a different surface that's a little bit lower than our knee. Usually this is like the bottom of a chair, an ottoman, a coffee table. And again, let's make sure that everyone here tests to make sure that their chair is strong and sturdy and isn't gonna slide out on them. But from there, the low chair push-up, which is our level 3 movement. So as you can see, we're taking the angle and we're slowly angling it towards a regular push-up. This is a fantastic way to create a motor pattern progression because as you angle more, then there's more gravity, which makes the movement more challenging, okay? So for this one, we're gonna do the same thing, coming into a push-up position. We're gonna squeeze the glutes, press the lower back up towards the sky, squeeze the core, and this time, same thing, elbows towards the ribs as we go up and down in the low chair push-up. And again, the more forward we are, a little bit easier. The more back we are, is usually a little bit harder. Now, something I wanna point out here, though, is oftentimes when we put our hands on a flat surface, people can have aches and pains in their wrists. And the reason why is if I put my hands like this, then I have to be able to bend my wrist to 90 degrees. Most people aren't able to do that, and especially not be able to put pressure on their wrist at the same time. So an awesome tip for you is this. Turn your fingers to the outside and try to angle your knuckles down like this. So from a side angle, you see how if I go like this, if I put my hands up there, it's 90 degrees. If I go like this, now my hand's at about 45 degrees right here, 45 degrees instead. So it protects our wrists a little bit. So turning the fingers to the outside, squeezing the outside of the chair, this can often alleviate someone's pain in their hands and in their wrists, okay? So try that out if you wanna give that one a shot. That's level 3, all right? The final level I'm gonna show you for the push-up is going to be the regular old push-up, okay? So what does this look like? Same thing, come down to the floor, make sure the hands are right underneath the shoulders, make sure the glutes and the core are tight, so no sagging the back down like this, no sticking the butt out like this. Glutes and core are tight, lower back is pushed toward the sky, and from there, elbows come towards the ribs. We're gonna come down as deep as you can, ideally going all the way to the ground and then pushing back up just like this. Now the breathing pattern for all these push-ups, inhale down, exhale up, and if you need to, move slow and controlled. And if you have a lot of confidence in your movement, then you can move a little bit faster, okay? So now you can see a motor pattern progression in action, right? We started with the seated thigh push-up, then went to the high chair, low chair, and then floor. So that's level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So on your upper body move, write that down right now. Was it level 1, level 2, level 3, or level 4? Pick a variation that felt like the right fit for you so that you can use that variation for the follow-along workout. And at this point too, I'm sure somebody's probably thinking in their heads, what's the right variation for me, right? And I think the best thing to think about is, can you do this movement with good form, without pain? And you think you could probably do it for maybe like about a minute. If you can do it for about a minute with good form, without pain, then that's the right variation for you. So a lot of you might have to re-examine your levels and say, ooh, I might have to take it back a level and think I'm do a little bit less. But that's what we do at WeShape. We build a strong foundation, right? Because if we start you where we're building a strong foundation of muscle activation, and then we're practicing the movement in an upright position, and then slowly bringing it to the ground like we just did with this push-up, well, guess what? You're gonna build strength safely. And so many people get stuck in this mess of one step forward, get injured because I did too much too fast, one step back, I feel frustrated, I don't want to go to the gym, and then they repeat that process for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, right? And then decades go by, and you feel really frustrated because you've never made any progress. Well, you haven't made any progress is because you're doing too much too fast. and you need to build that strength naturally, okay? You need to build that strength naturally, okay? Okay, now we're gonna go to the next upper body move, which is the chair dip, okay? So I'll say the chair dip, but the first variation is going to be not a chair dip at all. It's gonna be activating the triceps and teaching you what that feels like to activate the backs of your arms, all right? So right now, write down upper body 2 or UB2, so you can write down the level. There's gonna be 4 levels for this one as well. The first one is tricep extensions. So on the edge of the chair, nice tall posture. You're gonna bring your arms right in front of you like this, bent at a 90-degree angle. From there, you're going to like karate chop the ground while keeping your elbows in the same spot, and you're gonna squeeze your tricep muscles. So how do you squeeze your tricep muscles? It's by fully extending the arms, all right? If you can't feel your tricep squeezing, you can take your hand and you can put it on one side, and you can fully extend the arms and push that hand down into the ground, and you'll feel this muscle on the back sides of your triceps right here, on the back sides of your arms, firing, okay? So this muscle is simply extending and squeezing, and then bending and creating flexion in the elbow. Extending and squeezing, and then bending and creating flexion in the elbow. Now, always remember when we're doing these movements, focus on tall posture, focus on shoulder blades back, don't shrug the shoulders up towards the sky. Those are really important things when we're focused on this movement. So just back and forth like this, okay? Pretty straightforward. Most people should be able to do this unless you have some serious injury in your elbows, right? So this is your level 1 variation. Level 2 variation is going to be a chair lift, okay? So here's what that looks like. I'm gonna come to the edge of the chair. I'm gonna take my hands and I'm gonna put it on the chair like this, again, with my fingertips pointing to the sides like this. And all I'm gonna do is this, drive my shoulders away from my ears. I'm gonna push into the chair as hard as I can, and I'm gonna slowly scoot my butt off the chair like this, and I'm gonna hold for a second, and then I'm gonna bring my body back down. Then I'm gonna push my butt up like this, I'm gonna hold for a second, and I'm gonna bring my body back down, okay? And so that's the variation we wanna do for level 2. Now there's a few ways to tweak this for yourself. If you can lift your hips up off the chair all the way and you can bring them back down really easily, that's great. A lot of people, they don't have the flexibility to be able to lift their butt up and bring their butt forward. At that point, maybe their butt's down like this. So pay close attention. Your shoulders should be away from your ears and pulled back. If we do shoulders away from the ears and pulled back, and we're pushing into the chair, what you'll feel is the triceps extending, the same way we were just working on that first level. So we're warming up the movement with level 1. We're applying that movement to a more functional pattern in level 2, okay? If that's too hard for you, but this is too easy for you, then just stay at the edge of the chair, put your hands down, drop your shoulders away from your ears, lift your chest, pull your shoulder blades together, and just squeeze the triceps for a second, and then pause and reset. And this will help you build the strength to then eventually lift the hips forward. We'll call that level 1.5, but let's go with level 1 or 2 on these ones, okay? Once you've tested out level 2, we can go what's called a half chair dip, but I really want you to pay close attention to this half chair dip, because if you do this wrong, you can put your shoulders in a compromised position. But if you do it right, you can create tons of flexibility, and it's gonna make your body feel amazing, okay? So same thing, fingertips to the outside. We're gonna come into that lift right here. So you should not be doing this if you couldn't do that level 2 variation. From here, shoulder blades back, chest up, and we're gonna bend the elbows, and we're not gonna let the elbows flare forward like this. We're gonna keep the elbows pointed backwards like this, okay? And you'll feel a stretch in the fronts of your shoulders and your biceps. Go about halfway down. So maybe a 45-degree bend, and then extend back up. And this time I want you to lift the chest as much as possible. So as I'm doing this, I'm actually actively pushing my hands like backwards. I'm basically doing this right here, pushing my hands behind me to fire the triceps and to pull the shoulder blades into a position that's going to encourage better posture. When I'm here, I'm strengthening all the muscles that bring me here. And so much of our lives are spent sitting forward like this. And so this is one of the best movements you can do to really bring your body back into good alignment, okay? So again, coming up like this, shoulder blades back and down, and just going halfway down and back up, all right? This is our level 3 variation of the chair dip. Now, the difference between level 3 and level 4 doesn't have that much to do with strength, but it has a lot to do with range of motion. So here's what that looks like. I'm gonna do the exact same thing as I did for level 3, but this time I'm gonna try to get my butt all the way to the ground, or my elbows bent to 90 degrees. But here's the kicker. If I'm up here like this, my shoulder blades are back and down, my elbows come back, and I'm coming down like this, at some point, I'm gonna hit a spot where I'm not as flexible as I need to be, and I'm gonna roll my shoulders forward like this, okay? The moment I feel my shoulders shrug up and roll forward and my back start to round like this, I've gone too far. We wanna only go as far as we can while keeping the shoulder blades back and the shoulders away from your ears. So go as far as you can, should be more than halfway, and then extend up and push the arms back. And so this would be the full range of motion chair dip. What a fantastic move. If this is still too easy for you, you can always put your legs out front like this, and that's gonna make it even harder for you. So, on upper body number 2, pick your variation. Level 1 is the tricep extension. Level 2 is just pushing the arms down and coming into that lift for a second and coming back down. Level 3 is that half range of motion, and level 4 is that full range of motion in the chair dip, okay? So we've gotten through the warm-ups, we've gotten through the best upper body moves. Let's go to the lower body moves right now, okay? Actually, let me check and see if we have any questions. Again, I'm gonna answer some questions here, you guys. I'm gonna get through the 3 lower body moves and the core move. And if you guys have any questions, post them in the comments. My team will toss them up here. My hope is that I'm doing a good enough job at explaining everything that there's no questions. You guys are following along. You're doing the actual movements. And remember, I got 2 special things for you at the end of this. One of them being a follow-along workout. The other thing I'll get to in just a sec, okay? All right, here we go. 3 best lower body moves. We're gonna focus on 3 areas of the body. We're gonna focus on the squat, sitting to standing. We're going to focus on what's called a frog deadlift. This is one of my favorite moves, especially for teaching people how to move properly when they have lower back pain. And then finally, we're going to go over the bridge, another fantastic movement for strengthening the lower back and strengthening the core, but it's a movement that most people do wrong, and I'm going to show you the different variations that help you do it right, okay? So for the squat, we're going to get to lower body move number 1. So if you've been taking notes, LB1, or lower body move number 1, I'm going to go over the first level here, okay? The first level is a seated heel push. So again, we're focusing on that motor pattern progression. That's the way we work out at WeShape to teach us how to feel better in our bodies by consistently developing strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination, okay? This is a mind-muscle connection drill, and it's fantastic for people with knee pain, hip pain, lower back pain, who can't squat yet. So what you're gonna do is this. Come to the edge of the chair. Make sure your toes and your knees are pointing straight forward, all right? I don't want any of this stuff where your toes are out and your knees are in. I want you to look down. Your thigh bone should go right over your toes like this. Now from there, you're gonna lift your toes to your nose, keep them there this time, and you're gonna push your heels into the ground, almost like you're trying to shove the chair backwards, okay? I don't want you to lean backwards like this, I want tall posture, but push your heels on the ground, squeeze the quad muscles, hold for a second, and then relax, okay? Now this time, I want you to push your heels on the ground, and I want you to squeeze the quad muscles, but I wanna see if you can squeeze those glute muscles. So how do we squeeze the glute muscles? The quads, we push backwards. The glutes, we really push those heels down into the ground. The more you're able to push the heels down into the ground, the more you'll be able to feel those glute muscles. If you don't feel the glutes, another thing you can try is this. Bow forward from the hips. So we're bowing forward from the hips like this as much as possible, and then do it again, and you'll feel the quads firing, and you'll feel the glutes firing, all right? So this is just a mind-muscle connection drill, but it's a fantastic one because a lot of people lose their connection with the muscles of their thighs and their glutes, and those are the muscles that are gonna help drive you through being able to stand up from a chair. Okay, so that's level 1, is a seated heel push, okay? Level 2 is going to be a supported sit to stand. So what does that look like? I'm gonna come to the edge of my chair. I'm gonna take a nice wide stance, not crazy wide. You should be able to have your knees go in the same direction as your toes, right? But I don't want you probably being here. That's probably too narrow for most people watching this. From there, what I want you to do is this. I want you to bow forward from the hips without making your back round, okay? So don't round like this. Bow forward from this. We're just moving our belly towards our thighs. Hands go on the thighs, just like you're doing the seated thigh push-up. And you're gonna put the weight in the heels, and you're gonna shift your body weight forward like this. Look, body weight comes forward, weight is in the heels, and you're going to extend the hips like this, and you're gonna use your hands for support, okay? On the way back down, I want you to start the motion by pushing your butt back, putting your hands on your thighs, dropping your shoulders away from your ears, and using your arms for support, touch the butt, and stand back up, okay? So we're literally practicing at this point, sitting down in a chair, and standing up from that chair, okay? Slow and controlled, making sure the knees are going the same direction as the toes, making sure we're not bringing our knees crazy far over the toes. It's fine to do that if you're strong, but if you have aches, pains, and injuries, and you're on level 2, way too much for you, all right? So this is the level 2 movement, is this the supported sit to stand, all right? So now we're rehearsing the movement, but we're doing it with some assistance, okay? So if this is too easy for you, then you can go to level 3. Level 3, we remove the hands. All right. For some people, you might need to get a little momentum to stand up initially if you have the strength, but maybe not the flexibility. So it looks like this. Tall posture, same thing. Knees are going the same direction as your toes. Weight's going to be in the heels as we bow forward. And we're going to go, boom, arms out front, lift the butt off the chair, extend the hips, squeeze the glutes at the top, nice tall posture. Then reverse the motion. Don't reverse the motion by bringing your knees forward. Instead, butt goes back, right? First, weight on the heels, come back down, sit, right? So stand up nice and tall, push the butt back, weight on the heels, sit. Drive into the heels, extend the hips fully, and just like this. This is our level 3, and I'm going slow here. I think it's really important for people to realize you can do this slow and get a fantastic workout, right? Or If it feels good to you, you can go a little faster, and it's going to work your cardiovascular system more, and it's going to make those muscles burn a lot more in the long run. Now, this is level 3, and the final level is going to be fully extending on the toes. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Same thing, arms come out front, extend all the way up on my tippy toes, and then I'm going to roll back down. Imagine I'm like landing from a jump, right? So I'm rolling back down as I push my hips back and start the movement over, all the way up on my toes, coming back down. All the way up on my toes, coming back down. All right? So just like this, and on all these variations of the sit to stand and the squat, it's inhale as we go down, exhale as we go up. Okay? That's level 4. All right? So pick your variation. It's either the seated heel push, the supported sit to stand, where you're using your arms for support, the sit to stand without your arms, or the fully extended sit to stand, where we come all the way up on our toes. Okay? All right, so the next lower body movement is the frog deadlift. Ooh, this is a good one, you guys. All right, so one of the most common reasons people injure their lower backs is because they're not thinking. They get up, they're walking around, they go pick something up, and they go, ugh, and they bend forward like this, okay? When we round our back, when we twist our back, it's oftentimes a time where we're going to pinch these nerves down here in our lower back, and it's going to cause lower back pain. So what we want to do is we want to learn how to hinge through the hips while keeping a neutral spine. And then this movement is going to not only help you learn how to do that so that you find yourself picking stuff up off the floor with good form, but it's also going to work the entire posterior chain. So it's going to work the calves, the hamstrings, the glutes, the lower back, and even the muscles between the shoulder blades that generate better posture, all right? So this will be the lower body move number 2. So LB number 2, and level 1 is going to be a seated frog hip hinge, okay? So we're going to start just like we did with the heel pushes, only this time, I want you to bring your legs out as wide as you can while making sure your knees are going the same direction as your toes. So if you bring your legs wider and you start to cave in like this, too wide, right? Only as far as you can. See how my shins are vertical, my knees are going the same direction as my toes, okay? Now from here, you can use your hands on your knees for support, or if you want, you can put them on your hips. And all we're gonna do is this, bow forward from the hips until we feel like we wanna round our back, press your heels into the ground, and come back to the start position. That's it. Almost imagine like your belly is coming between your thighs, push your heels on the ground, come back to a start position. So what we're doing here is this. As we come forward, we're feeling the hamstrings load, we're feeling the glutes load, and we're strengthening the lower back while creating flexibility. Then we push the heels on the ground, and that's going to drive the motion standing up. And I want you to remember that, pushing the heels on the ground, because as we get to a standing position, that's going to be the most important feeling to make sure that you're doing this right. So this is your level 1 movement. And it's okay if you notice yourself starting to round your back when you get to here. It doesn't have to be very much movement. Over time, we can gain more and more range of motion here, and that's going to help you become more resilient and have less injuries over time, okay? If that feels too easy for you, the level 1, then we can come to a standing position, and we can do a supported frog hip hinge, okay? So this is going to look a little bit like that warm-up that we did with the sumo deadlift, right? So chair's going to be in front of you, nice wide stance, toes turned out, knees can have a soft bend to them. We're going to push the butt back. This is the most important part. This should feel just like when you were sitting there. You're going to push the butt back, and you're going to bring that belly between the thighs, and you bend the knees as you come down. Use the chair in front of you for support. Come down as far as you can until you feel like you're about to round your back because your hamstrings get too tight. So it doesn't matter how far that is. It could be up here, could be all the way down here. And then from there, remember what I said. Push your heels into the ground and squeeze the glutes and extend the hips all the way at the top. And really take a note trying to squeeze the glutes at the top, all right? Now, something that's really important for you, if you can't feel your glutes firing, when you're here, what I want you to do is this. Try to think about turning your knee outward, right? So imagine you're trying to basically like spiral your toes outward. I'm trying to like turn my toes out like this. If I'm here and I go to extend my hips and I am turning my toes outward, that's going to start to fire the muscles on the outsides of the hips and the glutes. And you'll usually feel your glutes firing when you're doing it that way. So push the butt back, and this time push the toes outward, squeeze the glutes at the top. All right, so this is our level 2. We're practicing more range of motion in a vertical position, and we're getting that rhythm down so we can do the movement properly. If that's too easy for you, then we're going to go to level 3. Level 3 is going to be the frog hip hinge in a standing position. Same exact movement, only this time we're going to put our hands on our hips. We're going to push the knees out. We're going to bring our belly towards our thighs, weights in the heels. Watch how these shins stay vertical, right? Come down as far as we can. We're going to push those heels on the ground, turn those toes out, and extend the hips all the way, all right? Slow and controlled like this. There's no reason for this movement to be very fast. I want as much range of motion as we can possibly get through. I want as much strength and I want as much awareness around what it feels like to push through the heels and squeeze those glutes to extend the hips, because that's really powerful. We want strong glutes as we do this movement, all right? So that's your level 3. If that feels good to you and you think you can do it with perfect form with no pain for 60 seconds, that's your level 3, okay? Level 4, we're gonna take it a significant amount further and do more range of motion. So it's gonna work your thighs more as well. So same stance, we're gonna do the full frog deadlift, okay? So butt goes back, knees stay vertical. I'm gonna bow forward just like I was doing before. This time, when I feel like I'm about to round my back like this, I hit that range of motion. Instead of trying to bend forward more, I'm gonna bend the knees. And I'm gonna try to come down until I touch my fingers to the ground, only making sure that I'm not rounding my back like this to accomplish that, okay? So what we might wanna do is this. You might start next to a mirror, look, and you see yourself, oh, I'm about right there. That's where I start to get tight. So then you could find like a book or a yoga block or something that's like 3 or 4 inches off the ground and just touch that and stand back up. And over time, we can reduce the height of the thing we're touching until we're able to come all the way down and touch the ground and come back up with good form. So that's your level 4, frog deadlift, okay? I've got one more lower body move for you, and then we're gonna move on to a core move real quick, and then we're gonna get on to our follow along workout. So I hope you guys are enjoying this masterclass so far. Again, my intention was to show you what is a motor pattern progression. Like, how do we teach people how to understand that if we slowly sophisticate a movement from, being able to sit there and do a seated frog deadlift and all the way to a standing with more range of motion, you're building strength, you're building flexibility, you're building balance and coordination as you get better at that movement. You don't need to add more reps. You don't need to work on it for more time. You don't need to add more weight to it. You're using just your body weight, and you're using that motor pattern progression to, again, build that strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination, which are the attributes that we at WeShape believe are going to help you feel better in your bodies. All right, one more sip, and then we're going to do the bridge, one of my favorites of all time. Okay, for the bridge, we are going to start on the ground, but we're not going to start on our backs, because first thing we want to focus on is muscle activation. I've been saying that on all these movements. First step in every single variation should be muscle activation. If you don't know how to use your muscles, let's teach you how to use your muscles, right? So if you have a hard time squeezing your glutes, or if you do a glute bridge lift and you feel like it hurts your lower back, then the glute activation is going to be the place to start. This is your level 1. So go to lower body 3. So lower body 3, this is the third lower body move. And then this will be your level 1. Come down to your belly like this. You can rest your forehead on your hands like this, however you feel comfortable, all right? From there, you're gonna curl your heels up towards the sky. And all we're gonna do is this. We're gonna lift our knees off the ground just a little bit, squeezing the glute muscles, and then come back down. When you're in this position and you're able to lift your knees off the ground just a little bit, the only way you can accomplish it is by squeezing the glutes. If I try to get my lower back up, it's gonna look like this. I'm gonna push my knees in, right? If I try to do the hamstrings, it'll be like this, but it's not the right way. If I wanna just lift my knees off the ground, I'm gonna have to squeeze my glute muscles to accomplish that, okay? So by just squeezing those glutes, holding for a few seconds, and then relaxing, we're practicing that mind-muscle connection with our glutes that's gonna be essential for the future variations that you'll be able to do with the glute bridge lift, okay? So if this feels good to you, and this feels like the right move to you to start strengthening your glutes and building that mind-muscle connection, write down level 1. Don't be ashamed to try to go to level 2 too far, too fast. Again, we don't build our houses on sand at WeShape. We build our houses on stone. You probably know that story. So I'm going to turn over and we're going to do a bridge lift, okay? This is really big. I'm super excited about this because almost everybody I ever see doing a bridge is doing one of these things wrong, okay? And I'll show you real quick. Let's just have fun with it. I'm going to show you a bridge and you can think about what's wrong about this bridge, okay? So I'm going to lift up, right? I'm going to come up real high. And I'm going to come up like this. Okay, look. Oh, look, Coach Tyler's doing a perfect bridge, right? No, I'm putting all kinds of things in a compromising position as I do this, okay? Number 1, if I come up on my toes like this, I'm overusing my quads and I'm underusing my glutes. So when we come up in the bridge, I want you to lift your toes towards your nose like this, okay? Now, the second thing is I want to make sure that you don't overextend your hips. Now, I'm going to show you level 2 here in just a sec, but a lot of people when they bridge, they'll overextend their hips like this, and you see this arch in my lower back? That's putting pressure there. Instead of that, squeeze the glute muscles, squeeze the core muscles, and usually it tilts the pelvis and brings the hips in alignment with the shoulders, okay? The last thing, if you noticed, my palms were flat and my shoulders were shrugged up, right? I want my palms toward the sky, and I want my shoulders away from my ears as I do a bridge, okay? So remember those keys. Palms toward the sky, shoulders away from ears, toes to nose, and don't lift too far, okay? So here's my level 2. It's called a glute bridge squeeze. All I want you to do is this. I want you to imagine pushing your foot all the way through the floor and having that same glute activation that we just did on our back. You see this right here? I'm just squeezing my glute muscles and then coming back down. So it's not a full extension of the hips. It's just, can I squeeze my glutes as I lift them up off of the ground and then slowly come back down? Now, this is going to feel shockingly similar to level 1, where I'm doing my prone glute activation. I'm trying to recreate that feeling while being on my back. So that's your level 2. Now, if that feels good to you and you can activate your glutes in that position, then we're going to drop the shoulders away from the ears. We lift the toes to the nose, and we're going to squeeze the glutes, and we're going to come to that fully extended position. Again, not overextended position, fully extended position like this with the glutes tight. And we're going to come back down, tap the butt, and lift the hips toward the sky. So this is our level 3, really focusing on that glute squeeze, driving the motion and making sure the palms are toward the sky, shoulders away from the ears, toes are towards the nose, and we're squeezing the glutes and the core at the top, right? Now, if that is still too easy for you, I got a decent jump for you here. This is the single leg glute bridge lift, and we're going to do it alternating from one side to the other. So you can bring your feet a little closer together so you have a nice base of support. We're going to make sure the toes are pointing straight forward so that we're not wobbling our knees in or out. Same thing, palms toward the sky, shoulders away from the ears. What you're going to do is this. One leg goes out straight, and we're going to lift the hips toward the sky. Hold for a second, and come back down. Switch legs, extend the leg, lift the hips toward the sky, and come back down. And when you find some smoothness to the motion, it can be a fantastic bridge drill that balances you from one side to the other and builds an immense amount of glute strength and core strength at the same time, okay? So this is our level 4 variation. So level 1 is the prone glute squeeze on my belly. Level 2 is just squeezing the glutes right here, not fully extending. Level 3, squeezing the glutes, fully extending, but not overextending. And level 4 is the single leg variation, alternating sides, okay? And make sure you follow those 3 cues I share with you, because again, almost everybody I see doing a bridge is doing something wrong that's actually probably worsening their posture or putting their body at risk, okay? All right, we have done the upper body moves and the lower body moves, and I've got one more move for you, and then we're gonna get straight on to this follow along workout, because I really want you guys to take all the information that you learned today and apply it in a follow along workout where every movement is the right fit for you. So we're gonna go over my number 1 favorite core move ever next, and I'm gonna show you 4 variations. Before we get there though, I just wanna remind you guys, if you're joining us on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, the follow along workout is going to be over on YouTube. I actually think we might be streaming it on Facebook as well, but try to make your way over to our YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, type in WeShape, WESHAPE, jump on our channel and click the live tab. This is live right now, okay? When you jump over there, you'll be able to access the follow along workout, which is something, again, if you've been watching this whole time, I want to make sure you head over there and get the follow along workout based on all the efforts, right? Oh, and the link is in the bio on Instagram, just in case you want to get over there. Okay, let's go to the best core move ever. So 4 levels again. I'm going to start this one on my back, and we're going to go through all 4 levels, all right? So, and one thing I should say is if you have trouble getting down on the floor and standing up, you can literally do this from a couch or a bed, okay? So don't feel shame like that you have to do this on the floor or on a yoga mat. Like plenty of people in our WeShape community, our members who do our workouts, do their workouts where they're lying down on the couch or in bed for their laying exercises, and then they come to a seated position on the edge of the bed. Again, our goal is inclusivity, giving you movements that anybody can do that are the right fit for you, okay? So starting out, this is going to be what's called the alternating lying leg raise. It's one of my favorite movements for teaching people how to activate their core, all right? So here's how we're gonna do this. First, the number 1 thing you wanna remember on all of these variations of the leg raise is, can I put my fingers underneath my lower back? So if I go take my hand and I slide my fingers under my lower back and my hand just slides in there, and there's a nice little tunnel there, then I'm doing it wrong, okay? What we want is this. I want lower back pushed into the ground. You see that? There's no space. I can't get my fingers in there. Nobody can get their fingers in there. And as I bring my knees towards my chest and back down, I don't let that lower back move, okay? So I'm never letting it go like this, whoop, where my lower back lifts. If the moment I start to feel the lower back lift off the ground, pause, push it into the ground, and end the range of motion. Don't try to go deeper, okay? Just bring the knee back up, okay? So here's how we're gonna do the alternating lying leg raise, okay? So we're gonna go fingertips away from the ears, palms toward the sky, just like the bridge, lower back pushed in the ground, and you're gonna bring one knee up, then you're gonna bring the other knee up, and then all you're gonna do is this. Tap one heel down, bring it back up, tap the other heel down, bring it back up. Again, lower back stays glued to the ground the entire time as we go from side to side, okay? If this is still for some reason too hard for you, let one leg hang down and alternate like this, where we just lift one knee up at the same time. That'll give you a little more support if you have lower back pain and you need to start reworking, teaching your core how to do what it's supposed to do, which is stabilize your spine, okay? Now this is level 1. Level 2 is going to be where we come into a reverse crunch position. So for the reverse crunch position, same thing, palms toward the sky, fingertips away from the ears. We're gonna bring the knees up. This time we're gonna try to maintain about a 90-degree angle of our legs as we come down and tap the heels, come back up and bring the knees towards the chest. Again, lower back stays pushed in the ground. It doesn't lift off the ground. You should never be able to get your fingers underneath there. The moment you're coming down and you feel whoop, that lower back start to lift, pause, push the lower back in, bring the knees back up, and you're probably doing a variation that's too hard for you. So for a lot of people, you got to check your ego at the door. You got to do the easier variation than you think you need to do. Okay? It's really important that we don't do something that's above our current strength and skill level. Okay? So if you're able to do that, that's our level 2. All right? Level 1 is the alternating version. Level 2, knees together with a 90-degree angle. Level 3 is what I'm going to call slightly bent leg raises. I'm going to do something a little different on this one. Instead of bringing my palms toward the sky, I'm going to have you make a diamond like this, and I'm going to have you put it right underneath your tailbone. Now, why am I doing this? When we graduate from this position right here, all the way to the legs being more straight, it's a lot harder to keep your lower back pushed in the ground. But if I make a diamond like this, and I let my tailbone sit in it, it encourages the pelvis to do this, whoop, to tilt this way, which protects the lower back and makes it a little bit easier on me. Okay, so diamond underneath the tailbone. This time, I'm going to bring my legs up, and they're going to have a slight bend to them, maybe like 30 degrees or so. I'm going to bring my heels towards the ground, lower back stays pushing the ground, and I'm going to bring my whole body back up, bringing the knees towards the chest. I'm going to inhale as I go down. I'm going to exhale as I go up. I'm going to go back and forth like this with those slightly bent legs. And just like all the other ones, if I still come down like this, oh, I feel like my lower back come up, probably doing too hard of a movement, okay? Now the final variation is going to be the full leg raise, and you can do this again with your hands in a diamond position, and I'll show you a harder way to do it as well if you want to try that out. So diamond position, you're going to bring your legs straight. This time, you're going to point your toes, keep the legs straight. You're going to bring the legs all the way down until your heels are right above the floor, and then back up. This is going to be a more challenging variation for you, but you're still going to focus on keeping that lower back pushing the ground the entire time. And if you want to make it harder, you can bring your hands to the outside, and you can do the same thing, keeping that lower back pushing the ground and doing these leg raises like this. A lot harder than it looks if you take your time to make sure that lower back's glued to the ground and you're doing this movement correctly. So that's going to be your level 4 variation. So pick your variation. It's either the alternating one with the bent legs, right? Or it's knees together at about 90 degrees, or it's hands under the butt, legs slightly bent, right? Or it's fully straight legs, and you can do hands under the butt, or if you want to, you can bring your arms to the outside and try it that way too, okay? So there you go. There's 4 different variations of the core movement, right? So throughout this masterclass, here's what we've done. We've gone through 5 different warm-up moves, and I've given you 2 different variations of these warm-up moves, okay? Then we went through 2 different upper body moves, and I showed you 4 different levels, right? And you could take notes along the way to understand which level they were. Then we went to lower body, 3 different lower body moves, each with 4 levels. Then we went to core with 4 levels as well. And we're doing this using a motor pattern progression, just like I talked about. Now, what you're about to see is a follow-along workout. That takes about 30 minutes to do, and you can do it from the comfort of your own home. You don't have to have any equipment whatsoever. You can literally do this by just having a chair and a space on the ground, like a nice piece of floor on the ground that you can do these movements around, okay? You don't need anything other than that. So you don't need to join a gym. You don't need to go buy machines or equipment and all this other stuff, right? People need to realize that you can learn to move your body well, and you can get a great workout from home if you know the right progressions and the right movements to do, okay? So here's how this follow-along workout is going to work. Once it gets started, we're going to intro the workout. We're going to go through all the warm-up movements, and it's going to show you both of the warm-up variations for all 5 warm-ups. Pick the one that felt right for you during the masterclass. Then we're going to do 2 different blocks during the workout, each one with 3 of the movements that I showed you, right? So there's going to be, 6 total movements, 2 upper body, 3 lower body, and 1 core movement. So the first block is going to be 3 of those movements. The second block is going to be 3 of those movements. And during each one of those rounds, it's going to show you all 4 variations of the movements that I just covered. Pick the variation that felt like the right fit for you and follow along to that one. And if at any point during this workout, you're doing it and you're like, whoa, this feels too hard for me, don't be shy and just go down in the level of intensity on the variation. So if you're level 3 and you're on round number 2 and you're like, this is way too hard, just go down to round number 1. I would so much rather have everybody who invested their time and energy into coming to this masterclass and getting a chance to understand what we do at WeShape and how to build motor pattern progressions into your workouts so you can become stronger, more flexible, have better balance and coordination so you can feel amazing in your body. I'd rather have you do things that are easier than you think you need to do so you can still move your body tomorrow and you can come back another day and you can start to try and go from level 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 on all of these movements another day. So check your ego at the door. Do the movements that feel like the right fit for you, okay? We're gonna do this follow-along workout here in just one sec, but before we get there, I do wanna say one thing, all right? If you've been watching this and you're thinking to yourself, whoa, this is a lot of information. I gotta figure out all the different movements and all the different variations, write down everything. I wanted to tell you this. At WeShape, this is exactly what we've already built. We spent the last 2 years building a software that takes every movement pattern that we've gathered, which is 27 warm-up movements and 27 bodyweight movements. And we've categorized them into 1 all the way up to 12 different levels. The very beginner level is for people who can't even sit up from bed. So we can accommodate people who are complete beginners, who have aches, pains, and injuries, who can't even sit up from bed. And our top levels are movements that will gain strength, power, flexibility, and coordination all at the same time. And during your workouts with the WeShape workouts, you'll be able to say, this move was too hard or too easy, and we'll be able to scale them up or down in real time as you follow along to these workouts. So the workout that you're about to get, that's just a sample of what we do at WeShape. During a regular WeShape workout, we're actually prescribing you the movements that we feel are the right fit for you based on your goals and your capabilities. And as a thank you for attending the Best Moves For You Masterclass, I just wanted to mention that right now, you can try any of our WeShape plans if you're a new member for 65% off the normal price. If you guys want to check that out, all you have to do is go to WeShape.com/best. So WeShape.com/best, and it will take you to that page. But this sale is going to only be a limited time sale. And I want to be honest with you. We had a different sale that we ran in November that we retired for 2023. And we're going to do the same thing with this sale. In fact, most of our WeShape members pay anywhere between $39.95 a month all the way to $299 a year. And right now, since we're giving you that 65% off any of our plans, you can save big, but it's not fair to those members. So we're actually going to retire this 65% off deal at the end of 2023, and this might be the last time we're running it, right? So if you're watching this right now and you like the idea of us doing all the work for you, you don't have to pull out a piece of paper and write down which levels you're at and keep track of everything. You just press play on the workouts, follow along, and answer some questions along the way while we continuously customize your workouts and make them a better fit for you. The goal was to make it feel like I was your personal trainer, selecting your moves and making sure I'm adjusting them along the way to make sure you have the right fit for you. Well, all you have to do if you want to check that out is go to WeShape.com/best. And if you're on YouTube, there's a link below that you can click right there to get access to that 65% off sale that we're running. And again, this is retiring very soon. That's my special bonus thank you for you guys. If you want us to do all the work for you over at WeShape, that's what we already do. We will build you a customized workout plan. We will adjust it for you every time you follow along those workouts. Plus, I didn't even mention, you get Q&A calls with myself, with Dr. Lisa. These are live Q&A calls with a small group where we can help you customize the workouts even further, teach you how to move your body better so you can feel better in your body, and you even get access to our Feel Good challenges for free, which, by the way, we've got an amazing Feel Good challenge that we've cooked up for January coming up here very soon. All right, so I don't want to keep you guys anymore. I want to give you this follow-along workout where you guys can actually try out what it feels like to do a WeShape workout. But remember, you're going to see all 4 movements on there. If you decide to join WeShape and go to WeShape.com/best or click the link below, it's just going to have that one movement that we've created that we feel is the right movement for you, and it's going to have that on all of your workouts. All right, so without further ado, let's jump over to that follow-along workout. And if you guys love it, afterwards, make sure to go to WeShape.com/best or click the link below. And thank you so much for joining the Best Moves For You Masterclass. I hope you learned a lot about motor pattern progressions and how to do the things to help you gain strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination so you can feel better in your body. Thank you so much for watching the Best Moves For You Masterclass. Now, right now, we have prepared a follow-along workout just for you. And this workout is going to piggyback on the Best Moves For You Masterclass by showing you each of the variations you just learned so you can use the variation that felt right for you. We're going to start out with a warm-up going through all 5 warm-up movements. You can choose whether you want to do the seated variation or the standing variation for each of these. Then we're going to go to a 2-block workout, meaning that this workout has 2 different parts. Each part is going to contain 3 of the movements that we taught you during the Best Moves For You Masterclass. And like I said, while you follow along, you'll see 4 different variations of each movement. So break out your notes and make sure to use the movement that felt right for you. Okay, let's get you warmed up. Coming up, seated calf rocks. Get ready. Take a big breath in as you go up and give a big exhale as you go down. Try to remember to use the elevator to strengthen your core as you do this movement. Drive your toes into the ground, flexing your calves for a second, then bring your toes to your nose to strengthen your shins. This is the true fountain of youth, so keep moving. Try to stay tall to the top of your head the entire time. Don't rush this movement. The more control you have, the better. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Up next, seated YTW. Get ready. In a seated position, bring your arms in front of you and make a Y, then a T, then a W. Repeat slowly. Make sure your thumbs are pointed backwards on each movement. Try to stay tall to the top of your head and relax your neck and shoulders as you hold this stretch. Inhale as you move your arms up. Exhale as you move them back to the start position. Results happen over time, not overnight. Work hard, stay consistent, and be patient. 3, 2, 1. Yes, looking good. Up next, one arm seated side bend. Get ready. In a seated position, bend to the side as you reach one arm over your head. Hold for a moment, then switch sides. You should feel this along the side of your body and in your lats under your arms. Inhale as you reach to one side, and exhale as you come back to center. Make this workout part of your daily routine. Try to stay tall to the top of your head as you move from side to side. Three, 2, 1. Great job. Keep it up. Up next, seated clams. Get ready. Open your thighs as much as possible, then squeeze them together at the top. Try to stay tall to the top of your head the entire time.
The struggle you'll feel today will be the strength that you feel tomorrow.
Keep your eyes forward and focus on a fixed object to get better balance. Make sure the chair or surface you're using is nice and sturdy, okay? Safety first. Your journey begins here. Take that first step. 3, 2, 1. Great work. Up next, seated marching. Get ready. Stay tall to the top of your head and try to relax your neck and shoulders. Listen to your body, know when to rest. Try lifting each knee as high as you can to really activate your core. Results happen over time, not overnight. Work hard, stay consistent, and be patient. You'll never regret doing your workout after you've done it. You'll only ever regret not doing it. Inhale as you lift each leg, and exhale as you return it to the starting position. 3, 2, 1, and rest. All right, you're already done with today's We-Shape warm-up. Next up is the actual workout. So let's take those warm, flexible muscles and see what they can do in today's We-Shape workout. For today, we're going to have you do a 2-block workout, which means there's 2 different parts to this workout. For this block, we're going to do 40 seconds of work, followed by 20 seconds of rest on the following movements. Push-ups, squats, and finally, frog deadlifts. We're going to do this for 3 rounds, so get focused and let's get after today's workout. Coming up, push-ups. Get ready! Take a big breath in as you go down and give a big exhale as you go up. Try not to let your elbows flare out as you go down and up. If this bothers your wrists, try turning your fingers out to the side, doing them on your knuckles or on a pair of push-up handles. Make sure all the points of your hand are in contact with the surface and grip tightly with your fingers. This is the true fountain of youth. Keep moving. 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Up next, squats. Get ready. When you look down, try to make sure that your knee is going the same direction as your toes. Try to keep 70% of the weight on your heels, 30% on your toes, grip the ground, and keep these 3 points in contact with the ground.
We have more possibilities available in each moment than we realize.
Try not to push your knee too far over your toes. Three, two, one. Keep it up. Next up, frog deadlifts. Get ready. Start each rep of this movement by pushing your butt back and hinging at the hips, not bending through the knee.
How hurtful it can be to deny one's true self and live a life of lies just to appease others. Think about that.
Try to keep 70% of the weight on your heels, 30% on your toes. Grip the ground and keep these 3 points in contact with the ground.
Even if you can only do 1 rep, try your best to do it with perfect form.
Try to stay tall through the top of your head the entire time.
3, 2, 1. You knew you could do it.
Round 2, woo! Up next, push-ups. Get ready. Try to press through your shoulders and rotate your elbow pits forward to finish each rep.
The kind choices you make today shape your tomorrow.
Listen to your body and know when to rest. Don't rush this movement. The more control you have, the better. If this bothers your wrists, try turning your fingers out to the side, doing them on your knuckles or on a pair of push-up handles. Celebrate every cell in your body working hard. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Up next, squats. Get ready. Do every rep with your heels slightly outside of hip width and your toes slightly turned outward. Remember, staying in control is more important than the number of reps you can do. When you look down, try to make sure that your knee is going the same direction as your toes. Try to keep 70% of the weight on your heels, 30% on your toes. Grip the ground and keep these 3 points in contact with the ground. Keep believing in yourself. 3, 2, 1. You made it. Next up, frog deadlifts. Get ready. Take a big breath in as you go down and give a big exhale as you go up. Don't rush this movement. The more control you have, the better.
Your journey towards a more loving mind-body connection begins here.
Don't round your back. Instead, try to keep your chest up and back flat as you go up and down.
Remember, staying in control is more important than the number of reps you can do.
Make sure the chair or surface you're using is nice and sturdy, okay? Safety first.
4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Now, if you're loving this workout, then you'll love our full We-Shape workouts where every movement is selected just for you. After you finish your workout, you can click the link below or go to WeShape.com/best to get an amazing deal on your first We-Shape workout.
Round 3, here we go. Up next, push-ups. Get ready. Try not to let your elbows flare out as you go down and up.
There's no such thing as failing. Fail means first attempt in learning.
Make sure all the points of your hand are in contact with the surface and grip tightly with your fingers. Try to press through your shoulders and rotate your elbow pits forward to finish each rep.
3 little words: love yourself more. Keep it up. You're almost done. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Awesome job.
Up next, squats. Get ready. Try not to push your knee too far over your toes. To make yourself stronger, squeeze your hands as you stand up.
Even if you can only do 1 rep, try your best to do it with perfect form.
Do every rep with your heels slightly outside of hip width and your toes slightly turned outward.
Everyone wants to live on top of the mountain, but all the happiness and growth occurs while you're climbing it. Keep going.
Try to stay tall through the top of your head the entire time.
3, 2, 1. You made it.
Next up, frog deadlifts. Get ready. Make sure the chair or surface you're using is nice and sturdy, okay? Safety first.
Check in with your body right now. What do you need?
Don't round your back. Instead, try to keep your chest up and back flat as you go up and down.
No excuses. Let's lay it on the line.
Start each rep of this movement by pushing your butt back and hinging at the hips, not bending through the knee.
Take care of your body, and your body will take care of you. 3, 2, 1. You knew you could do it. All right, you just completed block number 1, and your body should be nice and toasty, right? Well, I've got another block for you today. So breathe and get some water before we jump into block number 2, because here's what we're gonna do for block number 2. For this block, we're gonna do 40 seconds of work, followed by 20 seconds of rest on the following movements. Chair dips, glute bridge lift, and finally, slightly bent leg raises. We're gonna do this for 3 rounds, so get ready to crush this workout. Coming up, chair dips. Get ready! Pull your shoulder blades back and down and rotate your elbow pits forward at the top of the movement. Make sure your elbows travel backwards as you go up and down. When you look down, try to make sure that your knee is going the same direction as your toes. You are thriving. You can even do this movement while lying in bed. Try to stay tall through the top of your head the entire time. Keep going. 3, 2, 1, you crushed it. Next up, glute bridge lift. Get ready. Squeeze your glutes to fully extend your hips at the top. Don't let your hips twist. Make sure your hips are parallel to the ground the entire time. When you love your body will love you back. Don't rush this movement. The more control you have, the better. Press the backs of your hands into the ground and reach your fingers away from your shoulders. Make sure to take a breath when you need to. You've come a long way. Don't give up now. 3, 2, 1. Great job. Keep it up. Next up, slightly bent leg raises. Get ready. Press your lower back into the ground and squeeze your abs and glutes while tucking your pelvis. Listen to your body. Squeeze your legs and feet together as you do this movement. Be content with what you have right now. Rejoice in how things are. Your scars show you where you have been. They do not dictate where you are going. Make a diamond shape with your hands and place it under your tailbone. Keep it up. Let's do this together. 3, 2, 1, and great job. Round 2. Woo! Up next, chair dips. Get ready. You are so strong.
Make sure all the points of your hand are in contact with the surface and grip tightly with your fingers. Listen to your body and know when to rest. Don't rush this movement. The more control you have, the better. When you look down, try to make sure that your knee is going the same direction as your toes. Make sure the chair or surface you're using is nice and sturdy, okay? Safety first.
3, 2, 1. Keep it up. I'm proud of you.
Next up, glute bridge lift. Get ready.
Be proud that you're here right now.
Squeeze your glutes to lift your hips off the ground.
Take it easy if you need to.
Make sure your hips are parallel to your shoulders the entire time. Don't let your hips hike up on either side.
Your body loves you, so show it some love back.
Take a big breath in as you squeeze your muscles and give a big exhale as you relax. Try to relax your head and neck as you do this movement. 3, 2, 1. Awesome job. Next up, slightly bent leg raises. Get ready. Try to stay tall through the top of your head the entire time.
Remember, form first, intensity second.
Try to relax your head and neck as you do this movement. Squeeze your legs and feet together as you do this movement. Make joyful movement a part of your day.
Determination is a strength, so flex it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest.
Great job, you're almost there. Only one round left of this V-shaped workout. Remember, keep the momentum going by giving a V-shaped personalized workout plan a shot after you finish this workout. All you have to do is click the link below or go to WeShape.com/best and you can sign up for a big discount.
Round 3, here we go. Up next, chair dips. Get ready. You can even do this movement while lying in bed.
Good things take time, so focus on your form.
Make sure your elbows travel backwards as you go up and down. Pull your shoulder blades back and down and rotate your elbow pits forward at the top of the movement. Try to stay tall through the top of your head the entire time.
Take it all the way to the end of the round. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Awesome job.
Next up, glute bridge lift. Get ready. Press the backs of your hands into the ground and reach your fingers away from your shoulders. Don't let your hips twist. Make sure your hips are parallel to the ground the entire time. Doing your best means doing what is safe for your body. Make sure your hips are parallel to your shoulders the entire time. Don't let your hips hike up on either side. Squeeze your glutes to lift your hips off the ground.
You've come a long way. Don't give up now.
3, 2, 1, and great job. Next up, slightly bent leg raises. Get ready. Squeeze your legs and feet together as you do this movement. Squeeze your legs and feet together as you do this movement.
Remember, form first, intensity second.
Make a diamond shape with your hands and place it under your tailbone. Press your lower back into the ground and squeeze your abs and glutes while tucking your pelvis. You've come so far already. Don't stop. 3, 2, 1. Yes, looking good.
Great job on completing your first We Shape workout. Now, if you enjoyed this workout and you enjoyed having the right movement for you, the right variation that felt like the perfect fit for your individual capabilities and your individual goals, well, then you're gonna love the We Shape personalized workout plans that we create for our members. Now, during a We Shape workout, you're gonna be given one variation that's the right fit for you. And during our workout, we check in with you to see if that variation feels like the right fit. If it's too hard, you can scale it down. And if it's too easy, you can scale the difficulty up. This way, it feels like having us as your very own personal trainer guiding you to have the right moves for you in every single workout that you can still do from the comfort of your own home. So if you want to continue the momentum and do workouts that feel like the right fit for you, all you have to do is either click the link below or go to WeShape.com/best, and you'll be able to get an amazing discount on trying WeShape. All right, thanks so much for joining the Best Moves For You Masterclass, and I really hope you give our personalized WeShape workout plans a shot.